Welcome back, boys. Today in your English class, I hope you are all fine. In your English learners book, yesterday we have started our lesson 4. So we are going to complete the second part of our lesson 4. So today in second part of lesson 4, we are going to listen to story and we are going to learn past simple verbs. Most of the past simple verbs we have already finished in the previous class and the remaining we are going to do in today's class. So first of all, a math story from India. Where is this story belong from? It belongs from India. And this is story about a subject math. Birbal was a wise man who lived in India many years ago. When King Akbar gave him tricky problems to solve, he always found an answer. Read the story. What is the problem in the story? What is Birbal's answer? Okay, boys, in this story, there are two characters, Birbal and King Akbar. Okay, King Akbar used to give Birbal different situations or different questions. As Birbal was a clever man, he always give answers that always pleases King Akbar. So let's start, boys. Clever Birbal. The name of the story is Clever Birbal. It is from India. So first I'm going to read it, and after that I'm going to play for you track number 50. One day, King Akbar picked up a piece of chalk and drew a line on the floor. Birbal, he said to his friend, I want you to make this line shorter. Shorter means you have to make this line small, but you must not or you mustn't rub out the ends of the line. What King Akbar said to Birbal, he draw a line with the chalk on the floor, and he said, how can you make my line shorter? Okay, without touching it, without rubbing it. Birbal looked at the lines and thought, then he drew a long line under King Akbar's line. Look, said Birbal, my line is longer than your line, so your line is shorter. King Akbar laughed. You are right, he said. You made my line shorter. What a clever answer. So here what he did, he think about for a minute and then he draw a longer line than the king's line, and he said that my line is longer and my long line has made your line shorter. So this is why the king was pleased and he laughed and he said, yes, you are right, Birbal. My line is shorter. What a clever answer. Okay, so this is a story about which is related to maths and opening your mind. So when someone asks you a question, whether the question is difficult or easy, first of all, try to understand properly, think about it, and then answer, okay? Even if you don't know the exact answer, you should always try to give an answer, okay? Because effort also counts. If you will think, you will make an effort, that is also count. So the story is super easy. I'm going to read it again. Listen carefully. I'm not going to explain it this time. Clever Birbal. One day, King Akbar picked up a piece of chalk and drew a line on the floor. Birbal, he said to his friend, I want you to make this line shorter, but you mustn't rub the end of the line. Birbal looked at the line and thought. Thought means he was thinking. Then he drew a long line under the King Akbar's line. Look, said Birbal, my line is longer than your line, so your line is shorter. King Akbar laughed. You are right. You are right, Birbal, he said. You made my line shorter. What a clever answer. Okay, this was the story. Now in question 5, verbs in the story. In the story, find the words that are past simple of look, think, draw, laugh, make, say. So here are 6 words that have past verbs here. So see the story, I'm going to underline and you are also going to underline it with me on your books. So the first word is think, thought. Laugh, laughed. Say, said. Draw, drew. Look, looked. And the last word is make, made. Made my line shorter. So boys, when we are telling a story, all the verbs are, when we tell story, we always tell it in past tense, okay? So here that is why we have used simple past tense. Here some of the words are regular verb and some of them are irregular. Regular verbs, when in the end we put ed, like looked, laughed. They are regular verbs. And in irregular verbs, what we do, we change the spelling, like draw, drew. D-R-A-W will change into D-R-E-W. Made, make will change into made. In the place of K, we will write D. Say, S-A-Y. In the place of Y, we will put ID. So those words in which we change the spellings are called irregular verbs. And those verbs, in the end, we don't change any spelling, but in the end, we add ed, are called regular verbs. Okay, now moving on to the 5th question. Choose 4 of the words, write things that you or your family did this morning. First one is done for you. Look, my mother made my breakfast for me. My brother drew a car. My brother drew a car. My dad said we are going for picnic. My dad said we are going for picnic. Okay, last one. My grandpa always laughed. My grandpa laughed on my silly questions. My grandpa laughed on my silly questions. So here are the three sentences. One was already done for you. I thought, okay, let's make another one. My sister thought and solved her homework. My sister thought and solved her homework. Okay, boys, the first word will be capital, and in the end of the sentences, put full stop. Hurry up, complete these, and after a while, we are going to play a track number 50, and we are going to practice for reading.